Last time out, Jaime Garcia picked up his first victory of the spring. 4 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. He could be your difference maker today, maybe a difference maker all season long. The BJC Healthcare difference maker, Jaime Garcia. A beautiful afternoon in Jupiter, Florida. It's spring training. The Cards and Mets coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, packed house as the St. Louis Cardinals play host to the New York Mets. And welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals get a good test today. Lefties in the lineup, and they'll face a lefty on the mound.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the storylines for this 2015 team. Can they hit left-handed pitching? Jonathan Neese will be a good challenge for them today. 4 Cardinals in the lineup, including 2 of their big boppers, Hayward and Adams.
And for the Cardinals, it's another start for the injured but coming back Jaime Garcia here in spring training. They were out early today. Tommy Pham, John Jay, they'll be part of this 2015 team and the rest of spring training. Baseball comes your way next. Hey, Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Along with my partner today, Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Today's opponent, the New York Mets. They were under 500 a year ago. Wilmer Flores, the shortstop, will lead it off, followed by Daniel Murphy, an all-star a year ago. Then David Wright. Lucas Duda pounded out 30 home runs back in 2014. John Mayberry Jr. Then it's Campbell, Den Decker, Recker behind the plate. Castellanos is in left field. And the Cardinals have their lefty, Jaime Garcia, going today.
3 straight abbreviated seasons for Jaime Garcia after coming on very well his rookie season with 13 victories for the Cardinals. He's had shoulder issues, but so far so good this spring. He's looked as sharp as anybody. The movement is back, the velocity's there, and apparently so is his health.
Such a key for Jaime Garcia. Last 3 years have been cut short because of injuries. And there's a look at the Cardinals manager, Mike Matheny. Many of the regulars are in his lineup today. That includes his catcher, Yadier Molina. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense with Holiday in left, Borges in center. Jason Hayward, the newest addition in the offseason, is in right. Matt Carpenter, Johnny Peralta along the infield on the left side, Colton Wong and Matt Adams on the right side, Molina behind the plate. And we're just about set to go for baseball as we look at Garcia getting better command as we go along throughout this spring training.
He's always had the movement. That's really what he is, an A-plus pitcher in that regard. I mean, he is just nasty. In fact, most pitchers that play with him will say his stuff's as nasty as anybody's. And, again, the question for him is, can he stay out there every fifth day?
And that is the question that has surrounded number 54 for the last 3 years. When healthy, produces. And he wins an awful lot at home. Here is shortstop Wilmer Flores, and he looks at a strike, and we're underway. Finished up strongly in September last year with 4 home runs. He scored 15 runs. And he's battling with Ruben Tejada at shortstop to be the starter this year. That's fouled back quickly. No balls and 2 strikes.
Pounding the strike zone. That's going to be the key for Garcia. He's been pretty much of a control guy in his career. It's not been a wildness issue. It's just been a health issue. He's got the 2 kinds of curveballs, Dan, which you love with Garcia. He's got the sharp slider, and he's got the big overhand curveball. His changeup can be nasty.
Ball just moves everywhere. Every pitch that he throws. I mean, it's natural when you're left-handed anyway, but you see it with him. I'm not sure there's a guy in any level of the Cardinals organization that has the type of movement of Garcia. That's taken just a bit low.
So you think about a hitter having literally a half a second to decide to swing the bat, and the ball within that half second is moving all over the place. It makes hitting a tough thing to do, and that's why Garcia can be so effective and pile up the strikeouts.
And that's his first of the afternoon. Coming off a 5 strikeout performance his last time out against Baltimore.
Talk about movement. That one down and away, hits the spot. Yachty frames it well.
There's Daniel Murphy hitting 188 this spring. A pending free agent, so for him personally, a very big season coming up. And the first to Murphy is taken for a strike. We have 3 umpires that are in attendance here today, including calling the balls and strikes, longtime veteran Angel Hernandez. Not with us is C.B. Buckner, so you'll see a rotation of the umpires on particular plays. Right now situated down the first and third base lines. Up the middle and a base hit for Murphy.
Murphy has just killed the Cardinals.
He really has.
I mean, it seems like he has a 3-hit day every day, even here in spring training. He's just a hitting machine, and what he does with this pitch, exactly what a lefty should do against a lefty. Stay on it, drive it up the middle.
7-time All-Star. Now at the age of 32, it's David Wright, the third baseman that has dealt with an awful lot of injuries the last couple of seasons. So much so that he's missed 144 games dating back to 2011. And last year dealt with a torn labrum in his shoulder. Would love to see more power from him. Had 8 home runs in 586 at-bats a year ago. And we know that Citi Field is spacious,
right,
especially in the gaps, but that's not the David Wright that we saw a number of years ago.
Well, he's really been their franchise player, but he needs more people around him that can do some damage. Right behind him, right in front of him.
And that's a base hit into left center field. Murphy hustling on his way to third. And runners at the corners for the Mets here against Garcia in the top of the first.
Dan, I don't know about you, but I've seen much more aggressive base running in spring training for all teams. A lot of teams not content with that base hit to left, meaning we're just going to go first to second. Daniel Murphy takes that extra base. It can make such a difference. He holds on that move by Garcia to the plate, but he is running hard, going first to third. It really changes the complexion of this inning to have that runner at third base with just one out.
So runners at the corners for the power hitter, Lucas Duda. 30 home runs last year. That was third most in the National League behind Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs, and that's strike one. With the movement of Garcia, you also think about the potential of a ground ball, and he needs one here to get a double play. The Cardinals saw in his first outing that his control wasn't great, but when he missed, it was low. It was down, not up in the zone. It darts inside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
We've talked about it before, Dan, but I never really worry too much about velocity with Garcia. As long as he's getting a nice, smooth, fluid delivery, he can be 87, 88 and still get people out. Doesn't need that. In fact, if he tries to overthrow, the ball gets a little straighter. But I'd say he's at his best when he's right at about 89 or 90.
The Cardinals holding the runner at first. That's Adams. The Cardinals first baseman Peralta is near the bag at second. Carpenter near the line at third. So big gap in the hole there between third and short. Outfield is deep and straight away. A tough start to spring training you see there for Duda, hitting .091. Lucas Duda has had some of his toughest at-bats against left-handers in his career. He's only hit .212 against left-handed pitching. However, he possesses that great power, and that really validated the Mets' decision to move on from Mike Davis and say, all right, this is Lucas Duda's job to lose.
We've seen him hit some long ones, but he did not react well to that slider from Garcia. Garcia thought that pitch was a strike. Again, not a good reaction. He buckled a little bit. His hips went one way, his back went the other. Just not a good way of reading that slider from Garcia at all.
If you're Terry Collins, I know it's spring training, but do you think about starting a runner, or do you worry about the fact that he does struggle against lefties? The strikeout is there, and then you have the great Molina behind the plate.
Right. Does run well, but he can't outrun Yadier Molina.
He is not running, and the pitch is taken for a ball. So the bases are loaded in a first inning jam for Jaime Garcia. He seems to be a little frustrated with this strike zone.
Yeah, it does seem to be a bit small in the early going, and Garcia has a lot to pitch for here today. I think Mike Matheny is seeing him more and more as a guy that is challenging to be that potential fifth starter. Talked about Carlos Martinez having that spot to lose. He did not pitch well his last time out. We're going to see him again soon, but if Garcia keeps getting better and Carlos struggles a bit, I think that may force the hand differently than Mike Matheny had planned.
John Mayberry Jr. on the first pitch, a fly ball lifted out to left center. The catch made by Borges. Throw will come into third, and the Mets have an early lead. 1-0 here in the top of the first. RBI number 7 for John Mayberry Jr. The DH today is Eric Campbell, and he steps in with runners at first and second and 2 outs, and the Mets leading 1-0. Campbell was called up on May 10th of last season, first time ever in the big leagues, and stayed the rest of the year. Hit .263 in 85 games. And could play all over the diamond. Played 6 different positions last year for Terry Collins' club. Runners at first and second. Pitch number 18 of this first inning for Garcia. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
A lot of the experts in baseball are talking about the Mets perhaps challenging the Nationals and the Marlins in the East. I think their lineup has a way to go, but I do like their pitching. I think their starting pitching has the potential to be very good.
Even with the loss of Zach Wheeler, who's done for the year, will have Tommy John surgery. It was Matt Harvey last year and now Zach Wheeler this year. Mets cannot catch a break.
Well, you and I counted. They have 6 potential starters even without Wheeler. And one of their other potential starters is Dylan G, who's had some injuries. He's pitching today as the other part of the split squad game that the Mets are playing.
1 ball and 2 strikes. People hear split squad. You and I know what it is, but explain that for the fans at home.
Well, you have 2 games the same day, and you're close enough that you send a busload of guys to one game, and normally you'll split up your coaches, and really that's what it is. You split up your coaches, and you try to send 4 or 5 regulars to one game and keep 4 or 5 regulars in another game, and it's a way to get more at-bats for more players. And there are more than 50 players in camp for the Cardinals and Mets both, and sometimes you can't get enough live at-bats to satisfy you.
The 2-2 is swung on and missed, and Garcia has his second strikeout. But the Mets strike first with an RBI from John Mayberry Jr. Cardinals coming up. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Mid-American Chevy Dealers. Come in and visit and make your move to Chevrolet today. Beautiful day here in Jupiter, Florida, and the Hall of Famer, all-century performer Lou Brock. Great to see him in uniform. Many times it's Bob Gibson. We understand he'll be down here late spring. Whitey Herzog is at the ballpark today. Red Schoendienst, year after year, you'll see him down here as well.
Just don't want to take those guys for granted.
No, you don't.
Wonderful to have him around. Saw Willie McGee down at the minor league field this morning, and he was working hard coaching and spending a lot of time with the 163 players over at the minor league side. But Lou Brock, just his presence, I think, says something to these players. And you notice the way current players respect guys of his caliber.
Big time. There's a 1-1 to Matt Carpenter, and that's taken high. Many of the regulars in there today. Carpenter, Hayward, and Holiday here in the first for St. Louis as you get a look at the lineup.
Mentioned 4 left-handers today against Jonathan Neese, a very left-handed hitting Cardinal team in 2015.
I would think that many teams would try to align if they have a lefty in the rotation, and if the schedule works itself out. Many times with off days you can mix and match, but line up lefties against this Cardinal squad.
And one way to stop it is just hit them. And we're not even talking about John Jay, who's not in the lineup today, but you'd expect that he would be. And the spring training of Jonathan Neese, who's been about a 500 pitcher, but really probably should be better than that. He's had kind of bad offense behind him in his career, but he's had good numbers this spring. Kind of very simple delivery.
And Carpenter strikes out.
Gets the job done, doesn't it?
Yes, he does. Another lefty is Jason Hayward. Hayward, a good spring, hitting over 400. No home runs and 2 RBIs. Dobbs, Tire Auto Center's defense. Castellanos, former Cardinal farmhand in left, and Decker, very good defensively in center. Mayberry is in right. David Wright at third. Wilmer Flores at short. Daniel Murphy is at second. Duda at first. And behind the plate today for the New York Mets, Anthony Recker. First pitch to Hayward is taken for a strike, and Hayward and the Mets no strangers to each other. Many years in the National League East for Mr. Hayward. David Wright is well off the line at third base. With Hayward's speed, you can see him dropping down a bunt.
You see it with a talented player every once in a while, a guy who's got some power but also has speed. Also, you can see him as a gap hitter trying to kind of learn and discover who they are. I think when he first came to the big leagues, Hayward, the thought was power guy. And then later we thought, well, maybe gap guy. And then the Braves were trying him as speed guy because he's got all these talents. Well, you know, sometimes you get a little in between and confused. Do you take pitches? Do you take deep counts? Or do you go up there hacking? I think the Cardinals want to use this second spot in the lineup as a power spot. And that is something that Tony La Russa did for years. It's Mike Matheny's philosophy as well. I want some damage in the second spot. Swing to bat.
Here's a 1-2. We've also heard the Cardinals talk about, in terms of Hayward, be aggressive, but find a comfort zone. Be the kind of player you want to be. We're not asking you to pigeonhole you in a, as you're talking about, a leadoff man and back you in the corner and say, all right, you've got to take pitches. Be the kind of hitter you want to be, and we'll figure out a spot for you.
Well, telling somebody to be themselves is really good advice as long as they know themselves. You got to make sure he's not gotten confused with that fact over the last year or so.
Fly ball into left. Castellanos near the bullpen, and it's out of play. You're in a minor league ballpark here, spring training facility, and the bullpen mounds are in play. Matter of fact, Jason Hayward made an outstanding catch down the right field line about a week ago on top of the mound.
Yeah, sure.
You worry about the health of the players, but it was a great play.
Yeah, that's one thing they scout out before the games, just to make sure they don't tumble, and he made a terrific play right down that right field line in the Cardinals bullpen. And he is clearly a plus outfielder.
A race to the bag here, and Hayward is retired. Gold glove outfielder that can play all three spots, and he'll play right field for the Cardinals this year. With 2 down, it brings in the slugger Matt Holliday. Matt hitting .467 this spring with no home runs and 2 RBIs. He'll face Jonathan Neese, the 28-year-old from Lima, Ohio. Made a career-high 30 starts last year and matched a career-high in losses. He was 9-11. And Rick, he makes 30 starts, and yet he was on the DL twice. Shoulder strain. He had an elbow issue. He actually left his last start of the season. Scary moment with an elevated heart rate. But apparently that has had no issues going into the offseason and his conditioning and what's happened here at spring training. Outfield is deep and straight away, and an 0-1 pitch. And a base hit for Matt Holliday.
Holliday has found a lot of holes this spring training. A lot of base hits. They keep piling up. Doesn't quite hit this one right on the nose. It gets in on him just a little bit. Finds that hole over the shortstop's head. And I like the way Matt looks at the plate. He's not off balance at all. You don't see a lot of swings and misses from him. I think he looks sharp.
And Johnny Peralta has picked it up here lately. Had a 3-hit day last time out. Also a home run, his first of the spring. Runner at first is Holliday, and that pitch is taken for a strike. One of the reasons the Cardinals signed Johnny Peralta was that the shortstop position wasn't producing offensively, but he also crushed left-handed pitching in the American League. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's pulled foul, and the count runs to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rotation this year, you've got the names of Matt Harvey, Bartolo Colon. Yes, Bartolo Colon. Jacob deGrom, who was the National League Rookie of the Year. Dylan G, you talked about him. Big prospect that has seen big league time for the Mets is Noah Syndergaard, hard-throwing right-hander, big kid. And then this 28-year-old Jonathan Neese.
Still not sure how Bartolo Colon does it.
I just hope the DH never comes in the National League, just for the simple fact I can watch Bartolo Colon hit.
I don't know why that makes me think of your at-bats at the fantasy camp in January, because you didn't really swing it very well either, Dan.
You sure about that?
Other than that game-winning hit you got, which
right.
you told me to bring up today, and I did.
That laser to right.
Off the end of the bat. Yeah, well, it's frozen in my memory.
My hands are still ringing. Oh, that was so much fun.
When a guy's throwing 58 miles an hour, you got to take him to that.
You know, we stepped on the field to tape our open, and I looked at you and I said, you know, Rick, I played on this field.
Yes, you did.
I played on this field. Championship game.
You pitched on this field.
Did, yeah. I think I broke 64 on the gun. Swing and a miss on a big breaking ball from Jonathan Neese. So 2 strikeouts in the inning. Cardinals strand a runner. In Decker, Recker, Castellanos coming up for the Metropolitans. The Mets on top as we move to the top of the second here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Mets and Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. And a race for that 5th starter spot. It's Jaime Garcia and Carlos Martinez, who will be pitching on a piggyback style with Adam Wainwright on Saturday. Wainwright making his spring debut. And then Marco Gonzalez. How good has Marco been? A .84 ERA in 3 starts.
Gonzalez has probably been the best of the bunch, but he's the guy that is the youngest. And you watch Gonzalez pitch, and he's a guy that has a young body, and his birth certificate says he's young, but he's got an old head. He's just very, very poised on the mound. Martinez has shown some good kind of flashes as well, and Garcia, in some ways, the best stuff. So I don't think the battle's done yet. I think it's going to have to play out.
Here's Matt Den Decker, who hits from the left side, and Garcia has been so tough against left-handed hitters to the point that he's allowed a total of 9 home runs in his career to lefties. 9. That's it. One ball and 1 strike. First inning for Jaime saw a walk, pair of strikeouts, and a couple of base hits. The 1-1.
I love what Garcia just did to Dendecker. He threw him a changeup. And there was an old school thought that a lefty should never throw a left-handed batter a changeup, because the thought was that the ball would end up down and in, which is where lefties like to swing. And they kind of have that looping swing. A lot of lefties are low ball hitters. But in my mind, if you're a guy that's got a great changeup like Garcia does, why would you take that pitch away because you're worried about the guy being left-handed? I think it can be a great weapon, lefty on lefty.
Adams will take it. That's the first out. Mike Matheny sizing up the race for that 5th starter spot.
We're still just letting these guys pitch and figure out what our team could look like, depending on who ends up throwing the best, and also how things fit. I mean, there's no question that the younger guy like a Marco does have the ability to go back to AAA, and if the other guys are healthy and throwing the ball well, but I want him still going out here like he's competing and fighting for a job, and he's pitching like he really wants it. So it's been fun to watch these guys answer the bell here in the challenge.
And that's part of it, as Anthony Recker takes strike 1. The business side of it, and the fact that you do have options, literally options on certain players that if you need to, you can send them to the minor leagues. Here's the 0-1. What I'd be very curious about is what other teams are seeing in Jaime Garcia, and where do they stand in terms of, hey, is he available if the Cardinals are going in a different direction?
Well, Danny, when I walked up to the booth here right before we went on the air, there were 4 scouts on cell phones leaning over trying to get good reception outside of our booth here, and who knows who they're here to see. There's a lot of scouts at the ballpark today, another strikeout for Jaime, and you certainly would have to think that one of those Cardinal pitchers, and I'm not necessarily saying Jaime, could be somebody says, well, we want Gonzalez badly, or we want Martinez badly, or whoever, and we're willing to give you XYZ in our prospect pool. You know, you have to at least listen, and I'm sure there's some scouts that represent teams that need a 5th starter, need a 4th starter, need a 3rd starter, and they're trying to get a bargain somewhere. And I would imagine the Cardinals are a team where it's not a bad place to go shopping.
9th place hitter is Alex Castellanos, the left fielder. I mentioned earlier he's a former Cardinal fireman and was part of the trade that brought Rafael Furcal from the Dodgers to St. Louis in 2011. And by the way, Furcal, at the age of 37, he was with the Marlins last year, was hurt. He has just signed a deal with the Kansas City Royals. Here's an 0-2.
I think of Rafael Furcal. I think of one of the most fun guys in the back of a bus. We had some good times with him, didn't he?
Well,
I mean, he'd play his native music, and we had the merengue going. Or
Happy Flight.
Oh, my goodness. And he always smiling.
Matter of fact, in the championship 2011 ring, if you look inside that ring, and Bill DeWitt, the third, the Cardinals president, designed the ring, but there's the rally squirrel on there, but there's things that make you remember what the year was all about. And then inside it does have the inscription, Happy Flight. That swung on and missed, and Garcia picks up his 4th strikeout in 2 innings of work.
I'm going back to St. Louis tomorrow. I'd like to have a happy flight.
You will. We hope. Molina's coming up when we come back. Noon, we'll bring you both the Cardinals game and the Blues game. It's an early start for the Blues right here on Fox Sports Midwest at 12:30. You can find the Cardinals-Braves game on Fox Sports Midwest Plus starting at noon. Check foxsportsmidwest.com for channel numbers. And a strike to Yadier Molina. And we're underway here in the home half of the second. Just wonder how much Mike Matheny, John Mozeliak, Yadier Molina has been asked about the new physique of Molina this spring.
I got a pretty good indication of that talking to the Cardinal manager, Dan, before the game. Mike and I had a couple moments down the right field line, and he was saying that he's getting that every place he turns. Actually, people are asking about Molina, and they're asking it almost in a negative sense of, well, can he still play now that he's got a different body? And Mike's, I think, developed a frustration with the question because he's thinking, hey, the guy's in better shape. He's healthier. He's paying a price to be able to stay behind the plate more innings and more games. What can be wrong about that? He likened it to the similar conversation it was had about Lance Lynn when Lance Lynn dropped some weight and got in better shape.
Strikeout of Molina. And the third for Nice today.
One of the things about the game of baseball, though, isn't it? We dissect everything and the numbers and the guy's history. I mean, every single pitch he throws. One thing Mike and I agreed on in that conversation, we kept talking about Lance Lynn. We both agreed 100% that he's the most underrated player in the National League.
Lance Lynn.
Yes.
Here's Mike Reynolds. Well, just look at the numbers, and 15 wins last 3 years each season. You look at the ERA, and then you look at the innings that he's been able to pile up. So it takes a burden off your bullpen. And I think you're right. I mean, when people talk about some of the upper echelon pitchers, his name is not mentioned, and maybe we need to start taking a harder look at it.
Well, he has some haters that will talk about the fact that he got all that run production, and that's why he got wins. But if you're around him, he's more than that. And, and yes, wins can be an overrated stat for pitchers. I still think it matters. It can be overrated, clearly. But Lance is more than that. He's a gamer. He's a horse. He answers the bell. And he threw a lot here yesterday, and he's going to be ready to make that next start, dealing with that hip issue. And there's no question he'll be able to answer that bell come opening day.
2-2 on Reynolds. So 97 starts. Look at the record, 49-28. A couple of complete games. Both were last year's. First ever in the big leagues was against the Yankees. There's a strikeout of Reynolds. He didn't like the call. And that's 4 strikeouts for Nice. That breaking ball must be sharp because we're not seeing very good at-bats against that, or swings, or even how they're taking that pitch.
Well, then he's getting guys to freeze on the fastball, too, because they're thinking about that breaker. That looked like a cutter that he just threw on the outside corner, and that's really what that cutter can do. It can do 2 things. If you start a cutter off the plate away, it might catch the outside corner and freeze a hitter. If you start the cutter on the inside part of the plate, it may force the hitter to swing at a pitch that he ends up jamming himself on. So cutter can be very effective if it's got that late movement.
Here's Matt Adams. His numbers with spring training: no home runs, 4 RBIs. Good test for Matt. The big question has been hitting left-handed pitching. And Jonathan Nice, career against lefties, they only hit 168 against him. There is a huge gap in right center. David Wright well off the line near shortstop. The Cardinals have even encouraged, again, Adams to potentially drop down some bunts against shifts.
Tried it 3 or 4 games ago, fouled off a couple of pitches.
The 2-1 is lifted out to left field. Castellanos is near the line, and he makes the catch. So Nice has given up just 1 hit through 2 innings. He has struck out 4. Lance Lynn and the Cardinals trailing 1-0 after 2. TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. You can join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.tv for details. Wilmer Flores back to the top of the lineup, showing bunt and takes a ball in the dirt. There's a high fly ball lifted out to deep left field. Holiday is back near the wall, looks up, and it's gone. Wilmer Flores, his second home run this spring, and it's 2-0 New York.
We have noticed, Dan, that the ball really carries here to left field and has all spring training, and the wind blowing in that direction again today, but Flores gets underneath it. And those are the balls that are carrying. Kind of the high fly balls are just taken off. That one goes over the 355-foot sign in left center. And Jaime got that ball up a bit.
The Mets are high on Wilmer Flores, and they should be. Finished up in September. Strong showing. The question with him, he's only 23. And he's only had 375 plate appearances in the big leagues. This is Phil Evans, as Daniel Murphy has been replaced by Evans. Murphy single to center field and scored a run. But his day apparently through. That's a little bit surprising. Normally you see a regular get an at bat 2, maybe even 3.
Especially when you're taking a trip.
Absolutely.
Be one thing if they were in Port St. Lucie and you had a tea time or something, but he's going to be here all day and ride the bus.
Get up the middle near the bag and off the bag and into shallow center field. So Phil Evans is aboard. Back-to-back hits to start the third for New York.
Well, this is great if you could place one just like this, because that ball's hard to field. They don't work on that play.
No.
Over on field 2 and field 3 in the morning. They do work on a lot of things, though.
It's just constant, too.
I saw a drill this morning I had not seen at the minor league level.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I actually liked it. So the drill was Jason Simon-Tachi had a bunch of young pitchers.
This is David Wright, by the way, at the plate.
And he had a fungo, and he had a soft ball, kind of like one you'd use in the backyard. It was not really a hard baseball, but it's just soft. But it had enough kind of density to it that it would still go. Pitchers would go through their windup, and he'd hit a bullet right back at them just to test their reactions. And so it's a fielding drill, but it was kind of with some safety involved because the ball was soft. And I thought it made a lot of sense. And the idea is pitchers finish your delivery, then get ready to be fielders. And makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Here's a 1-0.
Jerry Royce used to do that drill years ago with a regular baseball, and he'd have me do that to him. And he said that's how he became such a good fielder. So he would go through his lineup or wind up, and my job was to try to hit a fungo off his shin, which occasionally would happen.
Ouch. But if he asked for it.
Right. It's not wrong if he asked for it.
Here's a 1-1, and Wright pulls it foul. Jerry Royce stays in St. Louis along with Steve Carlton. It's a different decade in the 70s, and I had the chance to do one of our evenings with the Cardinals with Steve Carlton, Bob Gibson, Tim McCarver, and it was great seeing Steve Carlton back in St. Louis. A lot of our fans, Rick, had not seen or really heard from Steve Carlton 25, 30 years, and he was tremendous.
Interesting guy, isn't he?
Very much so. We have another one of our speaker series coming up at the ballpark in April with Red and Lou together. So 2 Hall of Famers, Red Schoendienst and Lou Brock will be together. That's April 20th, and those tickets have gone on sale today at Cardinals.com/events. And I would say to any fan, young or old, you need to come out and see one of these, and to see these Hall of Famers interact with you. Everybody will get a signed baseball by the guys, and you'll have dinner, and you'll go down on the field and have drinks and hors d'oeuvres on the track, which is neat in itself because not many people get to go on the field. We'll have the 67 trophy there too, so for a picture, it's just a really neat night if you love baseball.
And again, there's something about the Hall of Famers. You will see current players. I mean, they don't get wowed by too many things.
Little squibber foul.
But when there's a Hall of Famer present, you just react differently. You listen a little more. You try to get a seat right next to him.
Xavier Scruggs and Lou Brock there. Xavier told me on the Caravan that his parents played with Ozzie Smith.
Exactly.
One ball and 2 strikes. The runner, Phil Evans, at first, and that pitch is in the dirt and inside.
They all went to St. Louis Obispo in college, and Ozzie came down to a minor league game where Scruggs' dad was there, and Ozzie was down to throw out the first pitch, and they got reconnected. They got reunited after being friends in college.
That's great, isn't it?
And yeah, just a terrific story.
Here's a 2-2. And right hits a fly ball out to right field. Jason Hayward makes the catch. And there's one down. Brings in Lucas Duda. You looked at what Garcia did at 6, 7, 8, 9 in this lineup. We got a ground out and 3 strikeouts, and you could see the ball really moving. And in other times, pitch has been up, hit out for a home run. So another pitch up, base hit to right. So it's very interesting to see if he can put it all together for a, let's say, 5 or 6 inning appearance here today.
Been a bit of a mixed bag for him, hasn't it? Yeah, here's one of those cases I'm not sure I'm a big proponent of having a huge shift. You talked about the lefty-lefty numbers for Duda. Doesn't hit lefties well, and you're giving him an advantage on the left side of the infield. And I get it, he's a power hitter, but he was overmatched last time with Garcia, and you could almost see him kind of pulling out as he did in his last at-bat, hit the ball off the end of his bat, a little ground ball to the third, and all of a sudden you got a base hit. I think when a guy is overmatched a bit by a pitcher, you play more straight up.
There are the numbers. He had 180 against left-handed pitching a year ago. 28 of the 30 home runs against right-handers.
And it's all about playing the averages and playing the numbers, and it's not an exact science. And I think, again, that's part of the fun of baseball to me, is you and I are not going to agree all the time. I mean, you're going to be, well, let's face it, you'll be wrong sometime.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I don't like to admit it, but so will I. But the point is...
Wow, I can't believe you just did.
Oh, I didn't mean it, though. But the point is, we can have an opinion about the game that's based on, there's a feel to it, there's a statistical backing to it. But these, as Tony La Russa said many times, they're men, not machines. So you have to kind of go with gut every once in a while. And I think that's what makes this game interesting.
2-1 is pulled foul. But this is the game now. I mean, this is just like balls and strikes. It's shifts in the game. And there are some that think that shifts should be taken out of the game. I don't think that'll ever happen. You know, Rob Manfred even addressed that. He's even, you know, at least thought about the idea because they want to have offense. You know, they think offense is going to bring people to the ballpark.
What I don't really get about that is shifts aren't new anyway. They shifted on Ted Williams in the World Series in the 40s. Outfielders have always shifted. You come in, you go back, you pinch in the middle, infielders pinch for double plays. I mean, there's always a type of shift. You're talking about an exaggerated shift, but when the Cardinals do this exaggerated shift they do now, it's not necessarily going to work. It's their best guess, but it's part of the competition to leave open a plan B for the hitter to shoot one to the left side or to bunt, as you mentioned in Adams' case.
Molina could not hold on. It sounded like a foul ball, and that's what Duda is claiming. We could hear that from up here.
Duda had to explain to Angel Hernandez that he dropped it. And he said, okay, then you can stay up here. I didn't realize all you had to do was ask. You heard the little tip, and Molina does not hold on. How about that?
Runner goes, and it's a double play. Strike him out, throw him out. How many times have we seen that over the last 10 years? That's the net man. The Gold Glover, Yadier Molina.
When you set out to
nothing. The Mets lead the Cardinals in the bottom of the third. This weekend, Fox Sports Midwest will televise the Missouri High School Basketball Championships presented by Bomarito Automotive Group. Catch the boys and girls Class 4 and 5 finals live Saturday on Fox Sports Midwest and Fox Sports Midwest Plus. Here's Colton Wong. A quiet spring for Colton, hitting just 143.
And one of those lefty-lefty matchups that we talked about. I would think Colton would have enough plate coverage long-term to be a guy that could hit left-handers. We saw what John Jay did against lefties last year. He hung in very well, had good numbers against lefties.
I get the feeling that Colton no longer is looking over his shoulder. Is there competition, for his spot? You always hope that the guy feels that way as he laces that to left. Over Castellanos and Wong to second base. And it's a leadoff double. But the point being that he's comfortable.
Even Mark Ellis a year ago had been a veteran that had started so many years in a row and had been on a couple of winners and was thought to bring some competition to Wong. I think he really felt that last spring, but he's the guy now, and that's the perfect at-bat, lefty on lefty. Took him the other way, got it in that jet stream we've talked about to left field, but he hits this ball right on the nose, head on it, finish it, take it the other way. Perfect swing.
Now it's Peter Borges. What a tough spring it has been for Peter, hitting .043. Drops down a bunt, a beauty. David Wright, bare hands, and the All-Star makes the play. What a good play that is by David Wright, with Borges just flying down the first base line. Long advances from second to third.
Well, the best part of that play for David Wright is how quickly he got to the ball. So he read the hands on the bat. That's what you do as a third baseman. You're always watching the hands. So when you see the batter go up the bat with his hands, you start charging in. And you can do that right about now. And there he starts to move already. So he's got his body moving to make the play on the bare hand, and plenty of time to get Borges. Borges does do a job, though, of getting the runner from second to third.
And an RBI opportunity for Matt Carpenter. We've talked about it. He's not your prototypical leadoff man in terms of speed, but what he brings to it is on-base percentage, walks, and RBIs. He really is an RBI guy in this spot, literally and figuratively, too. A leadoff man that can bring in runners that maybe on other teams would be a 3 or a 4 or 5.
And you talk about the great debates of baseball that we mentioned earlier. One of them this offseason was, where does Matt Carpenter long-term fit? Nothing wrong with him being in that one spot for the reasons you just mentioned, but you could certainly see him hitting elsewhere.
Sure.
And Mike Matheny believes, why mess with something that's working? He's a tremendous on-base percentage guy. You could see him as kind of a more classic two-hitter who's got good bat control, can use all sides of the field, maybe eventually could be that end of his career. You want savvy at-bats from your number 2 hitter. But you could also see him hitting well enough to be a number 3 hitter.
He had 3 home runs in the series against the Dodgers in the division series, 1 against San Francisco in the league championship series. And it just makes you wonder, will he hit for more power this year? That's kept in front by Recker. 3 balls and 1 strike. But again, it goes back to your point in terms of approach. Who are you? You know, what kind of hitter do you want to be?
I'm not sure Matt Carpenter is one of those guys, but I know that I've seen players in this game, played with guys, when they'd hit a home run, you'd say, uh-oh. Now they're going to start thinking that's who they are. And it takes them away from what they do best.
He's so disciplined, I don't see that being.
I agree.
3-2 the count. Carpenter struck out his first time up. Nice has struck out 4 so far. He's allowed just 2 base hits. A 3-2 pitch with Colt Wong, the runner at third for St. Louis. And a fly ball lifted out to left center. Then Decker is over to make the catch. Wong will tag up. Carpenter brings in the run. Cardinals get on the board with Matt Carpenter's second RBI this spring, and it's now 2-1.
Well, there's 2 left-handers producing against the lefty Nice. Wong leads off with a double, gets things started. Then Matt Carpenter, good situational hitting, gets the ball into the outfield to score Colt.
2 outs, nobody on for Jason Hayward. He grounded out to first, his first time up. A 2-1 Mets lead, and Nice flips that in there for strike 1. Hayward jumps on the pitch, hits it down the right field line, and yanks it foul. It could be on the street past our truck.
Might be.
The pavilion and right. Don't see many go that far.
That restaurant across the way?
Right.
Might have landed in somebody's salad.
A chopper hit up the middle, and Jason Hayward is 0 for 2. The Cardinals get on the board. A leadoff double by Colt Wong. Borges, the sacrifice. Then a sac fly from Matt Carpenter. Colt Wong starting second baseman for the Birds in 15. Up as we move to the top of the fourth. The 2015 promotional schedule is awesome. Features 7 bobblehead giveaway dates, including Molina, Carpenter, Ozzie, Brock, and more. Get your tickets through one of the 5 or 10 game promotional packs or as a single game ticket. On sale right now at Cardinals.com. The 1-run scored today for St. Louis, Colton Wong. It brings in John Mayberry Jr. to lead things off for the Mets in the top of the fourth. He was picked up as a free agent last year, hit .213 with Philadelphia. He was then traded at the end of the season to Toronto, and he hit just .208. One of the main reasons they wanted to pick him up is what he's done against left-handed pitching. His career is an .857 OPS against left-handers. And Mayberry Jr. is playing right field today. And every day for the Mets, when healthy, that'll be occupied by Michael Kadire, signed a 2-year deal as a free agent from the Rockies.
Well, we've talked a lot about what Cardinal first baseman DH today Mark Reynolds brings to this team, having a guy with some pop off the bench from the right side and how that can help against certain left-handed batters. Mayberry Jr., that kind of player for the Mets.
Lines it to left, and Holiday is there.
We've seen a lot of Randall Grichuk this spring training, and he's the kind of guy that we think, and at least I think, could be that kind of player too. But I think the question we've been talking about is, does he get enough at-bats at this level to warrant that?
They look at him being a future everyday player in the outfield as Nick Greenwood starts to throw in the Cardinals' pen. Nick made his debut against the New York Mets a year ago.
I think he had a good season last year, kind of under the radar.
Very much so,
and not really overpowering guy at all, but just knew how to get outs. He got them quickly, too. A lot of ground balls. Doesn't have overpowering stuff, but boy, is it good to be left-handed.
Fun guy, too. Nick was telling me that he would like you and I, and I'm serious about this, to go down in the bullpen at some point during a game and listen to him and Seth Maness call the game. That's what they're doing this year.
I like it.
So they're doing a little play-by-play, a little analyst.
Which guy's the play-by-play guy?
They're switching off, is my
I
understanding.
See. Understand. But I could see the left-hander as more of the color guy for obvious reasons.
Yes, me too. Very obvious. Wait a minute, you were left-handed. I didn't mean that.
Oh, we're not talking about Al, who we're excited is coming down here. Al will be doing the rest of the telecast with you for spring training, and Al, of course, is very left-handed too. We're in that club.
The 2-2 is a base hit into the corner. Eric Campbell, who is struck out, picks up a double with 1 out here in the fourth. I think you'd have to say that Garcia has not been as sharp today as he was against Baltimore the other day, his previous start.
Still has 5 strikeouts, so kind of one of those in and out games for Garcia. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the outing we saw from Carlos Martinez last time, and that game was played at Fort Myers, and he had good moments, really good moments. You thought, okay, he's fine, and then unfortunately things kind of got bunched together where he gave up some extra base hits and some runs in that game.
Now it's Matt Den Decker, who is grounded out to first. That pitch is taken low.
I would say Jaime's not precise with his pitches today.
Den Decker has been up and down the big club and their AAA affiliate in Las Vegas. Hit .334 when he was called up for the final time. He had 3 different stints with the Mets last year. And at that time, that .334 average was leading the PCL. Very strong defender. And he's in center today, but center every day will be Juan Lagares, who won the Gold Glove in center field last year for the Mets. Here's a 1-1. Breaking ball taken inside.
That breaking ball was a pitch you and I watched Jaime between innings, Dan, try to throw that and was struggling with the release point. He threw a couple very, very high, and and he hadn't thrown one a game since those warm-up tosses. That was a couple of innings ago. So the curveball not quite there today for Garcia. Again, part of him maybe not being 100% sharp.
I think it may surprise some to hear Juan Lagares won the Gold Glove, but he won it, and it was the first Met in 6 years to win a Gold Glove. David Wright had won one 6 years ago along with Carlos Beltran. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Thoracic outlet surgery. That's what Garcia had a year ago and cut his season short. Third straight year. A 2-2. He is signed through this year. The club holds options on Garcia for 2016 and 17. So if he's healthy, that also makes him attractive to any team. Control.
68 pitches already for Garcia, getting close to the end of his rope, I would say.
And a strikeout, number 6 this afternoon. I don't know about you, but, you know, for me, it's more about, okay, how do you feel tomorrow?
Yeah.
When you come to the ballpark and the next day and the bullpen and those kind of things. More so is, you know, he's going to have times where he looks sharper than others, just like anybody else. But it's health when you talk about Garcia.
Career has been so up and down because of the injuries for Garcia, but he's been a winner. 42-26. His career win-loss record. ERA of 3.5, which is good in today's numbers. There's the curveball.
Anthony Recker at the plate, the catcher.
Good release point there on pitch number 70 for Jaime.
Recker, who has spent time with the Cubs, made his 3rd consecutive opening day roster last year with the Mets. They also have Travis d'Arnaud, highly thought a prospect for so many years, and we'll see if that ever comes to fruition, all that promise that we've heard about.
Long trying to keep Campbell close at second base. Cardinals medium depth in the outfield. As Campbell takes that lead, he's not going to go in a direct line between second and third. He starts out towards the outfield. The reason he does that, a couple of reasons. He can see the infielder better to his left, but he's getting a better angled around third by having that wider turn. So you have the deeper lead. And it doesn't matter.
7 strikeouts today for Jaime Garcia. Shaking the hand a little bit as he's through 4. of St. Louis. Turned out to be a gorgeous afternoon here in Jupiter. 82 degrees. A little cloudy today, but still sunshine. We're not complaining.
I'm not.
No, sir.
How can we?
The big bats coming up for St. Louis. Holiday, who is single. We'll see Peralta and Yadier Molina. The Mets have had 6 consecutive losing seasons. 79 and 83 a year ago. It's tied with Houston for the most right now in Major League Baseball. Financially strapped at times because of certain issues. You would think a team that is in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, with the money that's available to them in the larger markets, would have the ability to
bounce back quicker.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
free agency.
And it's not that you're not going to have a short-term dip, and I think they have. And I think that's been part of it, trying to kind of regroup. Part of that regrouping has to start with developing good young players, too. There has to be a minor league piece. And I don't think you can look at a team and say they've become a frontline team without having a minor league component to that. And now you may use that minor league piece differently. You may bring them up and put them on your roster, or you may trade those guys for a veteran that fills a gap for you. But if you don't have a good minor league system, I just think it's too hard to win.
Holiday strikes out. So Nice has struck out 5.
Again, we talked about this morning some of the drills over on the minor league side. I spent a couple of hours over there. In fact, I was fortunate enough to be in Gary LaRocque's morning meeting. DJ was kind of running the meeting, Mark DeJohn, and it was some kind of funny, I should add, which I won't get into all that, but it was just a funny meeting with the staff, about 40 of the coaches and the trainers and the minor league personnel, pitching coaches, and all talking about the day's activity, and just really, I love that. I love the baseball discussion there, but then to go out with the 150 plus young kids trying to earn a spot on a minor league team, and just really fun to be out there with those guys today.
0-2 on Peralta. David Bell with Mike Eldrenny now with Oakland. He is the bench coach, and so part of his responsibilities, especially here in spring, is the organization of where all these guys go and what you're talking about.
So that's what Mark DeJohn does on the minor league side, and David Bell does it on the big league side. And I actually asked David, I said, I've seen it. I don't know if you've seen the spreadsheet that he does. It's oh my goodness, it's hieroglyphics. I mean, there's hundreds of names on this one piece of paper, neatly arranged in a spreadsheet. And I asked him if he's a big spreadsheet guy, and he said, no, not at all. But the product is good. He's learned it. They've showed him how to do that stuff, and certainly he's a good baseball mind. He managed in the Dominican Republic this winter, and I think he's a terrific find to have him in this organization.
Into center and a base hit for Peralta. For us being able to do these games, I think it's wonderful for our fans to see the players, to see baseball is back, the warm weather, but the baseball aspect of it, if you're a fan, is hearing and seeing about these young prospects. We talk about them throughout the summer, and then now all of a sudden you're in your living room, you're seeing them as we get a look at Yadier Molina. So I'll ask you, who's really caught your eye on those backfields?
Well, I'd say Alex Reyes, number one. Watching him, and I didn't see him in a game. I saw him in a bullpen. And I'm just glad I wasn't catching him. He's a big, strong guy and throws extremely hard and has a great body for a pitcher. Just kind of solid and young still. But he's kind of a can't miss guy as far as I'm concerned. He's kind of done that on the offensive side. I do like, and you can't find one guy over on that minor league side that isn't excited about Magneuris Sierra. Mm-hmm. We've seen him in a couple games here, and he really didn't get a chance to do much. But what they say about Sierra, who hit over 360 in A-ball a year ago, and he's very, very young, raw talent, that he's as close to a five-tool guy as they've had in a long time.
1-1 is pulled foul. The five tools: speed, arm,
defense,
base
running, and power. I mean, you got to hit for power. And he's not a classic power hitter, but he's got some power. And I just found out today over on those fields that Sierra was a switch hitter until he was 15.
Yeah.
And gave it up. And clearly doesn't need to be a switch hitter if he's hitting 368 from the left side.
Molina strikes out for the second time, and that's 6 strikeouts for Nice.
That's how you swing at a pitch that has spin to it but doesn't break. You're kind of waiting for it to do something it's not doing, and by the time you decide to let the swing go, you're just a little tardy.
With 2 outs, here's Mark Reynolds. I believe on the hats of the Mets, it's not the familiar NY. I think it's Mr. Met on top of that cap. And you grew up a Mets fan. You should know this.
Yeah, that was pre-Mr. Met, I think. Let's see if we can get a good look at the hat. And that is a fashion statement right there.
Oh, yeah. That's
clearly Mr. Met.
Mm-hmm. And the 0-2. Reynolds hits it on a hop to short and a force play at second. So Nice is through 4. Beat the Mets. Beat them. Saturday at noon on Fox Sports Midwest. What's on Tap is brought to you by Budweiser. The Braves will be here in Jupiter. And if you love pitching, you're going to see it with Adam Wainwright and Carlos Martinez. Chevy call to the bullpen takes us to Nick Greenwood. The lefty is in.
Again, not overpowering. He normally stays down in the zone. Has that little sink at the last minute. Gets a lot of ground balls for a guy that really doesn't have a lot of trickery to him. It's just, here it is. Hit it if you can.
Alex Castellanos, 9th place hitter, struck out back in the second. Garcia, you see the numbers for Nick. Garcia goes 4 innings and strikes out 7. And exits trailing 2-1.
So I got to follow up on this. Nick Greenwood and Seth Manish, you're telling me, are doing the game out in the bullpen, color and play-by-play.
Correct. They said it's a great way to practice. They said it keeps them engaged. And then he said if things look like they may be going awry, they stop and really start to focus on their jobs. But
that's a good idea.
That's one way, though, to really stay in the game, talk about situations and how they do the play-by-play.
Clearly, you could be talking about worse things in a bullpen.
Right.
And be paying less attention, so that does clearly focus you on the game.
Well, they said Bob Uecker used to do that all the time. You told me that. that he'd be messing around and calling the game and imitating Harry Carey.
So they're not imitating us. They're doing their own thing.
I'm scared if they are imitating us. Hey, Tweedledee. Hey, Tweedle. You know, I mean, it could be nasty.
I would love to get some audio of that.
Sure. We'll work on it. And they are two fun guys, too. And as you said, Nick Greenwood a year ago kind of flew under the radar. You hear about all the big prospects the Cardinals have had, let's say, the last 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden Nick Greenwood comes up. He was a spot starter. He was working out of the bullpen, and for the most part, pitched very well. A leadoff walk. And on Saturday, we'll have Adam Wainwright. What does Mike Matheny expect in that start?
I think, this being his first real game, everything we've seen behind the scenes has looked real good and sharp. Just fastball location, stamina, and just the movement that he's looking for. That should be a good day also with Carlos Martinez will be following him up. So between the two of them, we could end up having a full game with just watching those two pitch. But there's a couple good guys to watch.
That could be fun. Wainwright, Martinez back-to-back, and the Atlanta Braves are in Jupiter. A different looking Atlanta Braves, to say the least.
Be very interesting to see what they do with B.J. Upton. They've got a lot of money invested in him. And they told him during the offseason, at this point, despite the long-term contract, you don't have a job. You're going to have to earn one in spring training.
Frank Wren was the longtime GM. He was let go. Some of his staff as well. That signing, major reason why. The Dan Uggla contract has come back to bite them clearly. 2-1.
So if you're a Braves fan, think about the attention that you're going to have on Shelby Miller and what he does for your club. And they know how important Jason Hayward has been to that team. And, did he have a great year last year? No, but he had a good year.
Flores to third, and it's off the glove of Wilson. Wilson has played all over the infield. They love his work ethic. He's made an impression this camp. They expect him to be a big leaguer at some point in his career.
Yeah, and that's a tough play right there. That's a do-or-die play on the backhand.
And an error is charged to Wilson. And the first two have reached here in the top of the fifth.
That's a tough error, isn't it?
It is. Here's Evans, who took over for Daniel Murphy. Murphy had one at bat and singled. Evans then singled. Was caught stealing, part of a strike him out, throw him out double play to end the top of the third.
Can you recall me ever saying that's a tough error?
Or any pitcher?
Usually I'm in the other direction.
Right. Usually I am too.
Wait a minute. That 17 hopper through his leg should not have been a hit, is what I'm normally saying.
There are some that you just scratch your head. You say,
Yeah.
well, are these people watching the same game we are?
I think they have other motives, which is the unfortunate thing about it.
The 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike.
A lot of pitches already for Greenwood, a guy that normally throws strikes. A year ago, just 5 walks at the big league level in more than 30 innings. So he's a guy that normally attacks the strike zone.
Here's a 1-1 pitch from Greenwood. 2 balls and 1 strike. Evens it up at 2-2. Little chopper towards second base. Could be 2. A flip there. Barehanded onto first and a double play. 4-6-3.
And the only way that double play would have worked, which it did, is to be able to catch that with the bare hand on the flip from the second baseman Wong. And he knows that. Peralta knows that. So a nice, easy flip. Don't have to worry about transition. It's just one movement across the bag, kick the bag with your foot, and continue the throw on the first base. Nice play.
David Wright is 1 for 2. A runner at third and 2 outs. A lefty throwing in the Mets bullpen. The Cardinals have a right-hander getting loose. 2-1 New York as we play here in the top of 5. This will be pitch number 17 from Nick Greenwood.
You know, it's interesting. You talk about middle infielders, Dan, getting used to each other on flips and where they like the ball in the bag. And almost to a man, everyone I've talked to at the big league level always says, you know what? It's really not that big a deal for me because this is the big leagues and guys are just so good at what they do. I think that's more of a problem when players are younger, you know, even early in the minor leagues, just to get a feel for each other and how you play in the middle of the infield. But I think by the time you get to the big leagues, again, they're so good, they figure out a way to get it done.
Pass Peralta and into left. A tough hop. Ball was smoked. And it's now a 3-1 Mets lead.
This ball hit very hard by David Wright. And Peralta tries to play it off to the side a bit and again doesn't get the hop where he wanted it. So not a lot of help here defensively for Greenwood in this inning. Both very tough chances.
Duda has walked. He is struck out. Base hit for David Wright, his second of the afternoon. 2 for 3, and it's now a 2-run lead.
So Wright gets the hit and Flores gets the error. Is that what you're telling me?
Is
that what you're trying to say?
That's where I was going.
I could see it on your face, David.
That ball is hammered but pulled foul. Scatters a couple of the relievers of the Cardinals in their bullpen. This game was started by Jaime Garcia. 4 innings, 7 strikeouts, gave up a couple of runs. The 1-1. The shift on here for Duda. Runner goes, and it's a called third strike. Duda strikes out. Mets add to their lead. It's 3-1 midway through 5.
Okay, Cardinal fans, let's all say this together. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Dario Alvarez is the new Met pitcher. We'll look at his numbers from spring training. He's a 26-year-old left-hander from the Dominican Republic.
Santiago in the Dominican Republic. Made his major league debut last September. He was called up from AAA against Miami on September 3rd. Here's Matt Adams, right-hander getting loose for the New York Mets.
So more work for the Cardinal lefties against a lefty. Judging by his first pitch, he seems to be a little bit more of a sidewinding, slider-throwing left-hander.
You would have to think that if you are on an opposing team in a bullpen and a lefty reliever and the Cardinals come to town, you're going to get a lot of work. And it's interesting how relievers do it. And you did it for a number of years. You were both a starter and a reliever. As Matt Adams is in the hole. Nothing in two, but you walk in the clubhouse at any point in time throughout the season. And here's an 0-2 pitch. And you'll see the relievers going down and looking at the lineup and then looking at the extras and saying, okay, these are the couple of guys, in particular, let's say a Randy Choate, who knows he's more than likely going to face a lefty. And they go right to Chad Blair, who is the video coach, and they start looking at those at-bats of that particular left-hander.
So the other guy you have to look out for is, you look at the lefties. Who are the lefties? Let's say it's Votto. The next question is this a lefty they'll pinch hit for? And the answer is no when it comes to Joey Votto. But if there's a left-hander that you may be facing that you want to take a look at, and you say, okay, there's a lefty I'm going to probably be brought in to pitch to. But in the situation where they pinch hit for him, what right-hander will come off the bench? Then you better study that right-hander, too. I think that's the thing you often forget about as a reliever. You may not be facing the guy you think you're going to face.
Sure. 2-2 is a fly ball, shallow left center. Den Decker is there. And Matt Adams is 0 for 2. One of those lefties is Sam Freeman.
That's Sam under that towel there, I promise you. And he's looked good this spring training.
Career numbers for Sam. Hard throwing lefty. The first month he came up last year, he was lights out.
He was.
And the key with him is, as it is with many pitchers, but especially Sam, is throwing strikes. He throws strikes. He's going to be around a long time.
Well, I think the way it's situated now, and it's just now, it's just March, middle of March. It's not opening day. It's not middle of the season. But if you had to say right now, I think you're going to have to kind of ease Kevin Segras back into his role in some way. And I think the later innings at this point belong to Sam Freeman from the left side up top.
The breaking ball taken inside.
So who's going to face Votto? If it's not Randy Choate, who it would be situationally, but if you need a lefty to pitch an inning in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, I think at this point, again, right now, all things equal, it's probably Sam Freeman.
The 2-0. You keep bringing up Votto, and he recently came out and said he's healthy, feeling good. He's playing every day for the Reds out in Arizona.
That's why I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking about him.
Well, look, I think we overlook the Reds. I'm not so sure about their pitching, but if their lineup ever could be out there every day and healthy, that's a tough lineup. It's a very good lineup.
It's a very good lineup when they're having good years. Jay Bruce had some down moments last year, but when he's right, I mean, he's certainly a power hitter. He's a gap guy. He's going to get some RBIs. Outstanding defender, and Votto can be, he could be the MVP, which we know he can do that. And is Brandon Phillips helping?
It's a breakout season as Wong draws the walk for Devin Mesoraco.
Right.
You've got Todd Frazier. Billy Hamilton.
Mesoraco is perfect for that ballpark, too. Seems like every fly ball to the left is a home run for Mesoraco.
Yes.
And Billy Hamilton, I thought was good last year, but he can be better.
Peter Borges with a sacrifice his first time up. Cardinals trailing 3-1 here in the home half of the 5th. Wong a threat to steal, and there he goes, and they'll steal it standing up. Colton Wong with the stolen base. He led the club in steals a year ago in regular season play with 20.
Against the lefty, a lot of time you go on first move, and that's what he did. Guessed right.
Or just needs something positive to happen for him. Here's the 0-1. And Peter now in the hole, nothing in 2.
Here's the jump of Wong. Reads that first step. At that point, even if the pitcher Alvarez had thrown to first base, I still don't think they get him at second. Would have been a stolen base anyway.
This conversation right here, Rick, is it about signs? Is it about situations? Is it about make sure you're paying attention to Colton Wong? What is it?
Yeah, I think they're just confused a little bit on signs, and that's why you see the infielder Flores actually in the conversation as well. Probably not a lot of experience between the catcher Recker and Alvarez, and just want to make sure they're communicating. Is it the second sign, third sign? And
Wong the runner at second. He's running again, the 0-2. Just got a piece, and Wong had that stolen easily.
Yeah, that stolen standing up. And that could be part of the conversation, too, with Recker. And Alvarez, not sure how good his English is. Also interesting, over at the minor league complex, Dan, as we look at the jump by Wong. It's Lou Brock-like there. But in the minor league complex, all the meetings, every meeting, you'd find at least 40 Latin players in a corner getting the translation of everything that's said. It's something you don't think about at the minor league level, but it's something you need.
Nothing in 2 the count. Now they'll keep an eye on Wong. He's not running. And Borges hits a high fly ball out to left. That'll stay in the ballpark. Castellanos makes the catch. And Wong stays put at second. 2 down. Brings in the third baseman, Jacob Wilson. Matt Carpenter started this game at third and was in the top of the lineup. He struck out and picked up the lone RBI for the Cardinals. That was in the third. Wilson is your equivalent to a basketball gym rat. This guy loves to be at the ballpark. He loves the game, the work that's needed to put in.
I thought you were still talking about Matt Carpenter.
And that's another one. 2 outs. Wong at second. First plate appearance for Wilson. And he looks at a ball low.
I've liked his approach. You can tell when a guy at the plate feels comfortable and has good balance, and even the way they take a pitch seems to have very good plate coverage. Kind of in a bit of a crouch at the plate, off the plate a bit, but we haven't seen very many bad at-bats from Wilson, and we've seen a number of trips to the plate. Really, really been good.
1-0 pitch. Instead, a step off and a look at Wong. The story today for the Cardinals in terms of pitching, Jaime Garcia, 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. Both were earned. 72 pitches, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Those 7 strikeouts, that's now a spring high for any Cardinals pitcher. What do you think of the outing overall?
Well, that just makes it even cloudier than I first thought, and I thought it was kind of cloudy to begin with. So because you look at the 7 strikeouts and you say, wow, that's pretty impressive. But there were times where he was out of his delivery a little bit and spinning the ball and gave up a couple of hits, and couple of runs, but I would say it was good. I would say it was good plus. I mean, certainly nothing for him to feel like that wasn't another step forward for Jaime Garcia. I think your point that you made is still the important point, which is how does he feel tomorrow and how does he feel when he throws his bullpen in 2 days.
2-0 the count on Wilson. That gets by Recker into the backstop.
I think the thing you don't like about Jaime's outing is the 72 pitches in 4 innings.
Right.
Because that's just a 5-inning start, probably, even if he's in mid-season form, and you don't want to have too many of those.
3-0 on Wilson. It doesn't seem like Recker and this lefty have really been on the same page, does it?
Called him out once. Recker went out one other time. That pitch almost looked like he was crossed up. I wonder if he's not seeing the signs very well. Sometimes that happens.
A 3-0. Swinging away. Right center. Den Decker makes the catch. And the threat is through. The Cardinals strand a runner. Their third of the afternoon. We played 5. And it's 3-1 New York. Game at Busch Stadium is with a group of your friends and family. Group tickets, they're on sale now. And groups of 25 or more, you'll get incentives, including a discount of up to 50% off the gate price in most seating areas. A lot of the schools and bands and local teams come down, and that's all part of our group sales department. Give Justin Meyer a call. Tell him you want group tickets. 345-9000, cardinals.com/groups. Here's the right-hander, Hatley, who is formerly in the Chicago Cubs organization and now with the Cardinals.
We saw a scoreless inning from him a couple of days ago, and Hatley showed a good live fastball, good slider. Big, tall right-hander.
From Hawaii. Marcus Hatley. It's our Chevy call to the bullpen. John Mayberry Jr. at the plate. The Mets leading. Chopped to short. Peralta. The stretch by Matt Adams. One away.
One thing I've noticed about the Cardinals, as they trade for players and as they sign minor league free agents, as they pick guys up, you'll see them often taking pitchers that have good command who are relievers. You just don't see them just pick somebody who's walks 4 guys every 9 innings. I think they do that on purpose. I mean, you want to have a guy that's able to pound the strike zone, and that's something that Hatley was able to do a year ago, just 13 walks all season long in AAA. Had not been as much of a command pitcher early in his minor league career, but seemed to have figured that out. Again, if you're a young pitcher, if you're over there in that minor league complex with the 100 or so pitchers that are over there, every once in a while, if you're Isringhausen or Eversgerd, one of the minor league coaches dealing with him, just say, hey, throw strikes. Same thing you tell an 8-year-old.
Eric Campbell strikes out. That's 2 quick outs for Hatley. Brings in Matt Dendecker. Old buddy Cal Eldred there on the left, Seth Maness on the right.
You think they're talking about whether or not it's right for Seth to be doing a broadcast of the game during the bullpen? You think they're having that conversation right now?
They may be doing the game as we speak.
Maybe Cal's doing post-game work with it.
It could be.
He's done that before, you know.
No big deal to him. Midway through 6. Nice inning for Hatley. 3-1.
The sun.
Here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you on Fox Sports Midwest. Jason Hayward will lead things off for St. Louis. Mets picked up 1 run in the first, another in the third, 1 in the fifth. The Cardinals' lone run was back in the third on a sac fly RBI from Matt Carpenter. And Hayward again facing a lefty, looks at a ball, and we're underway.
Dan, I think big picture for this spring training, if you're designing what you would want to have taken place so far with the Cardinals playing in their 14th game here this afternoon, I would say everything's going along just as you'd want it to. No major surprises. I don't think you have kind of any big holes anywhere. You haven't had, fortunately, the huge injury here or the big thing to have to overcome. And the guys that you want to see getting better are. So, again, so far so good.
Inside, and it's 3-0.
We know in this game things change on a dime. And you've got 7 pitchers right now that you're imagining for those 5 spots, and then 2 weeks from now you may be saying, well, oh my goodness, we've only got 4. I mean, that's the way it works. But for now, it's all good.
3-1. Sam Freeman is throwing in the Cardinals pen. Right-hander throwing for the Mets in their bullpen. You wonder if this may be it for Alvarez to have the lefty-lefty matchup here with Hayward, then go to their bullpen with Holiday on deck. At 3-2. And Hayward just got a piece. Jason Hayward hits by direction a year ago. Could spray it a bit, primarily to center though and right. And so that's why we see the defense, at least on the infield, shading him towards the right side. The outfield, a big gap in right center. May change though with a righty on the mound. 3-2. Hayward chops it to second base. And he's the first out. Cardinals have just 3 hits today. Well, this season the Cardinals are celebrating tradition with 3 great ring giveaways, including the 1985 National League Championship ring, the 82 and 67 World Championship rings. So get your tickets now. These are always very popular giveaways with a 5-game ring pack or as a single game ticket. On sale at Cardinals.com. That'll be it for the lefty, just as we thought. Bringing the right-hander to face Holiday when we come back. Up in the Ike Davis deal a year ago from the Pittsburgh Pirates is into the ball game. And Holiday greets him with a 2-iron out to left. And got to tell you, Alex, we play 3 at the big league level. That's out number 2.
Good description. That was a 2-iron.
It was.
A little draw to it.
Got it! You don't hit a ball much harder than the way Matt Holiday does in some of those liners.
I'm the only one coming in.
Oops. Hey, it's spring training. It happens.
You know what I like about that, though? This game.
He laughed.
You have to. You have to laugh in this game. I don't know how you survive it if you don't.
It's a game of failure.
It is.
And it's a grind. And the best in the world hit 300, so 3 out of 10. So 7 times they're going down frustrated. And Peralta is frustrated right now as he grounds out to third.
And when you fail in New York, they're so forgiving.
Absolutely.
He said sarcastically. Ooh.
We enter the 7th. Mets on top. was here last year. The dude from The Hangover that I can't pronounce his last name.
Zach. It's good enough.
Just call him Zach. He was here last year.
I remember that.
Yeah. Here's Sam Freeman into the game for St. Louis. And the first pitch to the backstop, and we're underway here in the 7th inning.
And you were promoting Hangover 3, I think, through that guy, as I recall.
It was, yeah, he was here. He was part of all 3 hangovers. Somehow I don't think that was the real Zach G.
No.
Jaime Garcia, 13 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings this spring.
Galifianitis. Or something like that. About Galifianakis.
That works.
Should have stuck with Zach.
4 walks for Sam this spring, but no runs. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Anthony Recker.
Say, Sam, get ahead now.
That catches your attention, the amount of strikeouts in the starts so far by Garcia. How does your bracket look after number 3 seed Iowa State loses 60-59 to the 14th seed UAB?
I quit already. That is distressing to hear that. When you're 0 for 1, that's not a good way to start the NCAA bracket.
That's one of my Final Four teams. That one hurt.
Good changeup from Sam Freeman. He has the plus fastball, but that changeup really an equalizer, especially when you can throw it on a 3-1 count and have the confidence that it's going to be down in the zone and produce that kind of swing. It's a tough league when they're throwing 3-1 changeups right on the corner.
And he walked him, and that's how we start the inning. So number 5 in terms of walks for Sam Freeman. His stuff is so good. If he throws strikes, he will have success. It's a matter of throwing those strikes. He's also one of the best athletes on the team. He can fly. There's Castellanos with a runner at first base. And a liner out to left, and that drops. All the way to the wall. Past Pete Kozma, a run will score. Castellanos on his way to third, and that makes it 4-1 New York.
So far this spring, everything that Pete Kozma has done defensively has been perfect. Makes the wrong decision probably there. He's trying to do a little bit too much to try to smother that ball. And by the time he knows he can't get to it, got to find a way to knock it down. Not an easy way to do that, but certainly could have guessed hit on that sinking line drive, backed up a step, and at least held the runner at first and second.
Wilmer Flores skies one into center field. Castellanos at third. He'll tag up. The throw to the plate is not in time. The Mets have scored 2. They will appeal, though. Did he leave early? No. They checked out at third.
Sometimes the runner will get a little extra movement, but he's still on the base, so it'll give you the impression that he left early. I had the same thought.
I thought he did leave early.
But I think there a lot of times you'll see the runner start behind the base and get that little movement going with his foot still on the base, so he'll get a better head start off the bag on a sacrifice fly, and I think that's what he did.
Here's Phil Evans. A check swing and a strike.
Actually talked to Pete before the game and talking about how good a spring he's having, and one of the comments to him was that the ball keeps finding him, and his answer was, I want it to.
That's great.
And it was the perfect response, and it's not an arrogant response at all by Pete, because he's anything but arrogant. I mean, that's just not him at all. He's a humble guy, but he's confident with the glove and playing more outfield here than he's used to playing, and maybe made a bad decision there. So here's the runner at third. He's starting to get a little movement home, but still his foot's on the base. Did he leave early?
Awfully close.
Wow.
And this play,
very close.
what we have right here, will be reviewable this year. It was not reviewable a year ago.
So what do you call that? What do you say there? You're New York. They get under their little hood. They call New York. Dan McLaughlin answers the phone.
Hello.
Hi, it's Dan.
Yes.
Dan, we got a play here. Guy left early. What do you think?
Left early. I thought he left early. So
now,
take the run off the board.
That's the quickest review we've had ever.
That's it. I saw it.
Why aren't they that simple, by the way?
I actually, like many replays last year, and I'm serious, I would sometimes see it and I'd say, oh, he left early. And then I'd start really looking at it and I'd say, well, I'm not so sure.
So that second look is confusing.
Exactly.
Go with your gut then. Is that what you're saying?
Go with your gut.
Forget the facts. Forget deliberation. Forget analyzation. Forget multiple opinions.
A guy that wishes he had replay in 1985 is here today, and that's Whitey Herzog. Dustin Lawley lines it into left center. And he's thinking two on his way to second. And in there safely. As Kelly tried to apply a quick tag. The new shortstop, by the way, for the Cardinals is Aledmys Diaz, the Cuban defector. But the throw is there. I think Kelly didn't realize he had probably a little more time than he thought with that tag. Brings in Lucas Duda against Freeman. Aledmys Diaz, who's wearing number 83 there, the shortstop for the Cardinals, signed a 4-year deal. Last year injured a little bit. And I talked to Aledmys a couple of weeks ago. Remarkable story. Again, a Cuban defector, and he said he had not seen his mother for 3 years. 3 years. Had not seen her until this past Christmas. He said it was one of the greatest days of his life. He was very emotional in talking about it. His English is getting better and better. He understands English fine. And now speaking it, I thought he was speaking it quite well.
Players understand hard work and sacrifice, but then there are players that understand that at a different level.
The 0-2. Reminder, we have St. Louis Blues hockey coming up later tonight at 6:30. The Blues will be at Winnipeg to continue their 6-game road trip. 6:30 Blues hockey tonight. 2 outs, runner at second, and an 0-2 pitch by Freeman. That ball scoots away. Interesting to see Molina still in this game.
That ball did not react the way Yachty thought it would. I think he wanted that changeup to be away. Actually, an 0-2 changeup. He was just looking for something in the dirt. Maybe Duda would get fooled by it, but the ball comes inside and kept moving inside. So Yachty kind of tried to veer to the right and just couldn't come up with it.
And a fly ball that's lifted out to left field. Pete Cosmo, the ball will find you. This time he makes the play.
He wants it to.
Time to stretch. Aledmys Diaz. Boy, you pull for him. 5-1. New York on top.
Get your vehicle ready.
on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Hyundai and by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Here's Yadier Molina. The second inning of work for right-hander Zach Thornton.
You mentioned Yadi being in this game now into the 7th inning to get that third at bat. I think a couple of strikeouts for Yadi uncharacteristically, and now he bounces out.
Mark Reynolds will be the hitter. Molina 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Zach Thornton is 6'3", 220 pounds from Los Angeles. Has not pitched in the big leagues just yet. A strike to Mark Reynolds, who's called out on strikes in the second and hit into a fielder's choice in the fourth. We mentioned the injury to Zach Wheeler, the torn ligament, but there was also a key injury for the Mets in their bullpen. That's Josh Edgin, the left-hander. Lefties only hit 185 against him. He's done for the year with Tommy John. Wheeler's agent, by the way, has come out and said there was no wrongdoing in how he was handled by the Mets. There was some talk that maybe they pushed him knowing that there was a tear in the elbow. And they've now said, nope, that's not the case. They took all the precautions, and Thornton has his second strikeout. Terry Collins will make a pitching change, and a lefty will come into the ball game. Good work by Zach Thornton of the Mets. We're in the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs. The Cardinals trailing 5-1. And a lefty coming in when we come back. Grapefruit League action from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, home to the Cardinals. Scott Rice spent 12 years in the minor leagues. Think about how many bus rides he was on. He was signed in 1999 and never came up to the big leagues until 2013. Made 73 appearances with the 13 Mets. Last year, 32, so he dealt with some injuries. Perseverance, you bet. 6'6", 223-pound lefty, and he gets Matt Adams.
Think about guys that play a long time and get frequent flyer miles and maybe hotels. Does he get extra miles maybe with the Greyhound Company? Get extra miles for all those bus trips he was on?
Think of the stories he must have. the long bus rides with your teammate as Adams hits it sharply to first, and the Cardinals are through in the home half of the 7th. 12 years in the minor leagues. 5-1 New York. Molina is through. 3 at-bats, couple of strikeouts, and a ground out. And a new pitcher is in for St. Louis. And a right-hander that wears number 63.
Miguel Sokolovich. And I've got Dan figured out. If he's not 100% sure on the pronunciation of the name, he just points to me and says, there's a new pitcher. And you know who that is.
That's Matt Adams.
You can say that.
Yes.
Sokolovich is a little bit more of a challenge. We saw him with the Cubs a couple years ago. Not an overpowering fastball, but has a good slider.
4 games, 3 2/3, and no ERA. 5-1 Mets as we play here in the 8th.
There's that slider. It's a short one, and I kind of remember that when we saw him with the Cubs. Just a really quick breaking slider.
Oh-2 pitch. You were telling me Sokolovich is from Venezuela.
Correct.
And you were not kidding. I wouldn't hear that name normally from Venezuela. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I remember asking somebody at the time that we first saw him, a player that was from Venezuela, and said that that's not unusual to have kind of some Russian names of people that live in Venezuela.
The 2-2.
Good off-speed pitch there. Sokolovich also played in Japan for a year in 2013. So from Venezuela, Sokolovich playing in Japan.
And a strikeout.
I bet that confused that league.
Cardinals theme tickets allow fans to celebrate a common interest while enjoying access to a unique promotional item or even an exclusive pregame event. This year's theme nights include Star Wars night, Zoo night, halfway to St. Patrick's Day, and more. For info or to purchase your theme tickets, visit cardinals.com/theme. And strike 1 on Eric Campbell. Slowly hit. Diaz. A lot of spin on that ball and can't come up with it. An infield hit for Boyd. With one out here in the 8th.
When a ball has spin like that, you often get that kind of result. Creates a little more spin with it. And had to be quick. Couldn't come up with it.
One out, runner at first. Sokolovich, first pitch. He's taken for a ball low. This will be his inning. Nobody loose in the Cardinals pen. A right-hander throwing for the Mets and theirs.
We saw Diaz a little rusty last spring training when he came over. He hadn't played for a while. Really last year, because he got injured, really never really got on track last year either. So it's a guy that's been a steady player and was in Cuba, and Cardinals invested a lot in him, and they think he's going to be the guy. Could be the shortstop of the future, but may take a while for all of that to come back together again for him.
At this level, taking significant time off, boy, it's just very in a game that requires so much timing. And it's hard.
And I think that's worse defensively than it is offensively. And you know, again, people may differ on that, but I just think there's something about the instinct of playing defense and the speed of the ball, the speed of the game, the footwork involved. It's much more complicated than it looks to be a good defender.
3-1.
Hitting his hand-eye coordination. He's hit well. He hit well last year. He's hit well in spring training. But I would say he's a little choppy with his footwork so far, and I think he'll just get better.
The 3-1. Taken high for a ball, and now it's runners at first and second. Johnny Mornell, new catcher now for the Mets. Cal Eldred has moved from the bullpen now to right next to Derek Lilliquist. Cal's role with the team is to rove and to help and to look at various players.
He's roving right now.
And he is.
Think he'll come up see us?
Possibly. Good change up there. But a lot of teams are going to what they would call a life skills coach. And the Cardinals are not saying technically that's what they're calling the role of Cal Eldred. For instance, the Nationals have done that with Rick Ankiel. But it's to have a guy that's been through ups and downs and injuries and those types of things. Bob Tewksbury does it with Boston, but to help those players, whatever it may be. Whether it could be something in their family life, could be anxiety, whatever the case may be, but to have someone that's been in uniform, that's played at this level, and has an understanding what maybe that player's going through.
When I was with the Indians, we had a guy in the minor leagues who was the team psychologist, and he would get into uniform. He hadn't been a player, and he would get into uniform at batting practice, and he'd come and stand next to players. And guys didn't want to stand next to him because he'd say, uh-oh, here comes the guy. And it was kind of a joke. It's like, uh-oh, must be something wrong with me because he's coming over. Rick's coming over to talk to me. His name was Rick. And so teams were experimenting with the mental side of the game even at that time. And it's, you know, the kind of the psychology of performance. But I think what they've understood is it's helpful if it's a guy who's been a player, who's going to know when to say what on the field in a way that doesn't seem so. I mean, let's face it. You're on the field and some guy comes up and says, "Hi, my name is Dan. I'm the life skills coach, and I need to talk to you."
Sure.
What's your first reaction?
Well, you're going to step back,
exactly.
Obviously.
So
you're defensive.
So I think they want him to do that job naturally, and a guy like Cal is the perfect guy to do it.
Great listener, great talker, communicator. Understands how hard this game is. And it was such a great story when he came back.
So not surprised that Bob Tewksbury's that kind of guy. I have been just thrilled to watch the development of Rick Ankiel and the fact that he is so excited about doing that role with the Nationals. I'm not sure I would have guessed that 10 years ago.
No.
That would have been his next level job. but it seems to be fitting him. He loves it. He's excited about the opportunity. He spent time with Tewksbury, learning what that role is like. So good for Rick Ankiel, good for the Nationals.
Rick Ankiel, part of our fantasy camp, and there's only a handful of spots, by the way, for the fantasy camp coming up at Busch Stadium, and that's in early June. So many of the retired players will come back, the Hall of Famers, and a few spots remain. And the bases are loaded. Cardinals now with activity in the pen. A lefty is up.
And Dan, that's a name you'll leave for me too. It's Dean Kekeffer.
I was just about to say.
I know what you were going to say.
The guy in the bullpen.
I knew what you were going to say.
And I knew it was Kekeffer too.
Oh, now you know.
That one I knew.
Now you know. So we go from Sokolovich to Kekeffer to probably Tuivailala.
I got that one down.
Yeah.
He made his debut last year. It's probably video that he'll see the rest of his life, and it's me saying, and here's Sammy T into the game.
Good changeup there by Sokolovich. Looked like a fastball.
Major league debut. Sammy T. He was on the caravan with me, and I said, do you understand the heartache you put me through trying to pronounce your last name? And he says, you wouldn't believe it, but I get it everywhere. I said, no, I believe it.
So he had to do the easy part, make a big league debut.
You're right.
In front of 50,000 people. With 2 years of pitching experience, by the way.
Exactly. I've seen him on the backfields, too. He is fun to watch. You talk about a power arm. My goodness. Sam Tuivailala. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Just got a piece. The 1-2 and the base is loaded. It's another good off-speed pitch. Down in the zone, and he gets the strikeout.
Changeup certainly become the #1 pitch for Sokolovich. We've seen it a lot this inning. It looked like a bit of a palm ball grip and a little downward movement to it. He sells it well. You get the good firm arm action, but the ball kind of comes out slowly and fades a bit and throws off the timing.
There's T.J. Rivera, who's a shortstop and wears the number of David Wright. Wearing number 5 as Rivera looks at a strike. 8 hits today for the Mets. 3 for St. Louis. We'll see the Mets in New York before our series in Kansas City.
Now that's more what we used to see with guys coming up from the minor leagues. They would just wear the same number as somebody who was here. So surely I think David Wright probably has dibs on that number, but I don't have a problem with having another 5 here in this game. And you know, I think it would look kind of silly for him to be number 97, frankly. He looks like a number 5.
Well, if he comes up to the big leagues, he will not be wearing that number.
Agreed. But he won't be wearing 97 either.
You never know. So Taguchi wore 99.
Yes, he did.
The great one. Here's a 1-2. Get out of play.
Well, as most young guys that come to the big leagues, you get to the big leagues, they say, here's your number. You say thank you, and that's the end of the conversation. It's not a negotiation. People all the time, why are you this number? Don't ask me, ask the clubhouse guy.
Sure.
This is beyond my position.
1-2, and it's a base hit out to left. 1 run is in. Here comes another. The throw by Cosma, strong, but Runner is safe at the plate, and the Mets add 2 more to make it 7-1 New York. That's one thing that Pete does possess. He's got a very good arm.
Not a bad throw up the line just a little bit. Again, ball's not stung to left, but finds the hole. Cosma charges it well. Good form, really. And a good strong throw just up the line just a tad. And an interesting day for the Mets batters today. A lot of strikeouts, but a lot of hits and a lot of runs. Time for another pitching change. It'll be the left-hander, Kekeffer, taking over here in the 8th. Trailing 7-1 in spring training action. There are 6 straight great games, during the 2015 season. The Cardinals are giving away replica jerseys. Get tickets to all of these game dates through the 10-game jersey pack, or you can buy the item as a single game ticket, on sale now at Cardinals.com. Plenty of Cardinal fans have made their way south for spring training action. Enjoying a day in the sun. The Cardinals trailing 7-1. The Mets 2 runs in the 7th, 2 more in the 8th, and the Cardinals relievers having some issues. Dean Kekeffer takes over for Sokolovic, and his first pitch is fouled back for strike 1. We saw Kekeffer pitch on Sunday. He gave up a run then, but like many of the other relievers we've talked about, very, very good command at the minor league level.
That's way outside. You jinxed him. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Maybe he did it on purpose. Maybe setting up this pitch right here, Dan. Down and in.
Ball 2.
That was a strike.
And he gets the ground out. So good work by the lefty to get the final out here in the top of the 8th.
Kekeffer
And the Cardinals are trailing 7-1. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ty Kelly hitting .261 this spring, 7-1. The Mets have the lead. New right-hander is in for the Mets, John Velasquez.
Johnny V, which we'll call him for now on, Dan. It's a lot better. From the Bronx, pitched collegiately here in West Palm Beach, Florida. He's 29 years of age, and he hasn't seen big league action yet.
Where did he pitch at? Florida Atlantic?
Got the Double-A. Actually pitched at an NAIA school, Northwood University in West Palm. John Velasquez.
Johnny V.
Just call him a right-hander.
The next from the right-hander is a fly ball that's lifted down the left field line on a 3-1 pitch. And out of play. We've seen Kelly, I think every at-bat that I've seen of his, and I've probably seen maybe 6 to 7, 8 maybe, he has had a 3-ball count.
Agreed. And I bet on 3 or 4 of those at-bats, he had to swung the bat till the 3-2 pitch. Very, very patient at the plate. You'd have to wonder his value as a utility guy coming out of this camp, perhaps. As a fifth outfielder / extra infielder, you know, certainly a guy that's getting a long look. Being a switch hitter helps. Being an infielder, outfielder helps.
A 3-2. Kelly puts it in the air out to shallow left. 1 away. Cardinals half of the 8th. Cardinals lone run, a Matt Carpenter sacrifice fly. That was in the 3rd to drive in Colton Wong, and at that point in time in the game it made it 2-1, and since then 5 unanswered by the New York Mets. Here's Peter Borges. Borges with a sacrifice today. I'll find that grassy area down the right field line that many of the kids sit in to get autographs from the bullpen pitchers. A souvenir for that young man.
Good foul ball territory.
The 1-1.
Good place to get a tan. Sure there's some sunscreen at work. Certainly fans a must.
A 2-1. And Borges hits a fly ball. Left field. At the track. At the wall. And it's gone. Home run for Peter Borges.
Shoulders with that at bat. Borges has been struggling offensively. Got one up in that stream in left field. Gets the treatment. And the congratulations in the dugout. Doesn't even have to take off his own helmet.
My partner today, Rick Horton, right before the at bat, Peter Borges said, home run.
I did say that. It's written right there.
Here's a 1-0. Jacob Wilson at the plate. That home run makes it 7-2. Borges has now 2 hits in spring, a single, and that home run. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Matheny saying today Borges despite his struggles, is our fourth outfielder. Told me he is a guy that when it comes down to it, we're going to go to a defensive outfield in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, or mostly the 8th, 9th inning. Borges is the guy I want out there.
Interesting, because then you wonder about the future of some of the immediate future of some of the others that are in that competition.
Well, it certainly tips the hand a little bit. Of course, the way I always feel about when a manager makes a statement like Mike said today, and was pretty strong in his defense and in support of Peter Borges, he can feel that way and does feel that way. It doesn't mean he'll feel that way in 2 weeks or in a month or in 3 months or next year or 5 years from now. And I always think it's unfair for a manager to feel like he can't say anything about his players or anything about the situation as if that's going to be thrown back at him a month later and say, yeah, but I thought you said your team was going to run more. Well, yeah, but we tried and it wasn't working, so we're not. I mean, it's just part of managing is the same thing we see from players. You have to make adjustments.
The ground out to short. And it brings in Stephen Piscotty. We haven't seen Piscotty get a lot of starts, but we have seen him come in, let's say, middle half of games, late pinch hit appearance here and there.
Just haven't seen a lot. Enough. I would say almost I haven't seen enough of him. Like to see more of him, more starts, more put him in the third spot in the lineup, let him play, let's see what happens. Most of the games that we've done, the regulars have been in, which is a good thing. But Piscotty's kind of been underutilized, I'd say.
Broken bat, and he's retired. The 8th inning comes to a close. The Mets 7, the Cardinals 2. As Peter Borges picks up a long home run out to left field. Good to see this for Peter. Maybe, just maybe, it gets him going. 7-2, New York on top. Kieffer is second inning of work. Got the final out in the 8th and a strike to Dustin Lawley. Lawley with a base hit and a run scored. Let's chop to third. One out. Dominic Smith wears number 22 for the Mets.
Dan, I said last inning, started to say in the inning close that it's been an interesting day offensively for the Mets. They've pounded out 7 runs on 9 hits. They have a home run here today, but 11 punch-outs. So kind of a on-again, off-again day for the Mets offense, and that's really how you describe probably the Cardinals pitching a little bit. Jaime Garcia in his start, I would say, pitched well. 7 strikeouts in his 4 innings of work. Too many pitches for Garcia, however, over 70. And he gave up a couple of runs, but for the most part, you'd say good.
Tough play here. Kelly, bare hands, throws, and got him. That could be the one tonight on Fox Sports.
Not even St. Patrick's Day. Kelly makes a nice play. Going to his right, off balance. Good strong throw, and it had to be a quick throw to complete that play.
Travis Tegeron, who's the right fielder for New York.
You said that name really well, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Glad you didn't give that one to me.
It's Stanley. They've caught a piece of that foul. Really looking forward to the next telecast on Saturday. And we'll be coming to you at noon here on Fox Sports Midwest. Adam Wainwright and Carlos Martinez.
That's going to be terrific. Kind of the piggyback routine is going to start in that game with Martinez getting a lot of innings after Adam. And Mike Matheny told us that he's ready for that start and ready for game action, and he's on pace for that opening day start if all things go well. And Martinez, I think, will have something to prove on Saturday in his next outing. I'd say it'd be impossible to handicap right now, Dan, the starting rotation for the Cardinals. I think whatever happens the next couple of weeks is going to make a big difference.
Jace Boyd, and he chops it to the right side. Scruggs will take it himself, steps on the bag. Scoreless inning for the lefty, and that will send us to the bottom of the ninth. Mets lead it 7-2. He's ever had in a Cardinal uniform. And he got him. He slams his bat in disgust. And there's your breaking ball goodbye.
Strikeout number 12 to match a career high.
Got him. Ends it with a strikeout. That's our next telecast. Adam Wainwright on the mound. Saturday, noon, the Atlanta Braves. We'll see the spring debut. Big number 50. Can't wait. Here's Pete Kozma, and the Cardinals down to their final 3 outs. Kozma in left field. He's played right field. He's played second, short, third. We've seen him everywhere this spring. And he's also hit, and hit well. Matter of fact, close to 500 this spring. He's had a lot of plate appearances.
Hit a lot of balls hard, but he's also found holes. Really kind of in a groove right now. Had a play earlier in left field that would like to have back that went all the way to the wall, which was part of a Cardinals defensive showing today, which wasn't very good. This was not the best Cardinals defense. There was a ball kicked at short, kicked at third. And not a great defensive day for the Cardinals, but again, some bright spots, as you're going to get every day, and lessons learned, which you get every day.
Fouled back by Kozma.
Got into the rally clap. Did you notice that?
Oh, I did. Rick is clapping along with the fans. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Kozma. And he strikes out. Strikeout for Bradford, who takes over here in the ninth. Let's turn to our Budweiser player of the game. And it's Jonathan Neese, the starter of the Mets.
Yeah, he was really good here this afternoon. 4 innings of work, gave up just the 1 run, but had 6 strikeouts. And I thought he looked really sharp with his off-speed pitches, showed a good slider. And Colton Wong, the only one to really hit him hard in those 4 innings.
It led Mies Diaz. He takes strike 1. As you talked about, we saw him in spring last year hit well when the Cardinals signed him, and it took a little while for him to get here, literally, physically, to get into camp. Some of the issues that he had to go through. Last season at Double-A, 291. The 8 doubles, 6 steals, but injuries a part of that first year in professional baseball. Here's a 1-1. The 2-1 pitch, taken high.
Well, Dan, you know, teams always have to focus on the present. Who do you have now? And who's going to help you win now? But you always have to have an eye to the future to think about who's your next shortstop, who's your next catcher.
You were talking about numbers earlier, and numbers that are given out by the team. And it just made me think as Diaz grounds out to a shortstop, his counterpart. But it started to make me think, all right, who are the guys now? I don't think you'll ever see another number 4 for the Cardinals. You won't see another number 5, even though they're not officially retired.
51.
51. 29, maybe. Chris Carpenter. Just something to think about.
50.
Adam Wainwright. 2 outs.
What's your number, Dan?
Left out. Left out.
What number you had? You had Yachty's number.
I did.
Fantasy.
Well, that's the number I wore in college, so I wore it before Yachty. Okay, is that okay with you?
As long as it's okay with Yachty, you can take it up with him.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Now you just wonder about baseball 50 years from now. The Yankees will have an infield with guys with numbers in the hundreds. They're running out of numbers a lot faster.
Yes. Cody Stanley at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the Cardinals down to their final strike.
They can still do it, Dan. Don't lose hope.
The 2-2 in the dirt, and the count runs full. Well, partner, Al will come in this weekend, and then I'll see you in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Look forward to that. Can't wait.
Always great working with you down here.
I loved it, Dan. Had a great time, and we'll certainly enjoy it when the games start counting.
Stanley grounds out, and the Mets hold on for a 7-2 win. What did you take away from this loss?
I liked what Garcia was able to do today. He was not as sharp as we've seen him, but he still had the 7 strikeouts. And for Mike Matheny, saw a couple of good at-bats against the lefty Nice, mostly Colton Long, but not enough offense for the Cardinals. Borges with the home run late, but really the pitching and defense